If you're a competitive Pokemon TCG player like me, you're probably wondering what the heck is it with all these viable decks in this format? There are so many of them, and they all suck sometimes, but why do I always dead draw? And what is it with all these Regidrago decks dominating tournaments? Where did they come from? Whose idea was it to make so many powerful Dragon Pokemon? Why are there so many? They think they're so fancy with their Phantom Dives and their Trifrosts and their Lost Impacts, and hey look, they just released a new Dragon Pokemon to make the deck more powerful, isn't that awesome? Okay, well let's just all calm down. I know, trust me, we are all feeling this way, but thankfully in this video we're going to talk about various deck options that were able to take on this mighty dragon, because when it comes down to it, we all know that they like to hide behind the cute little Clef if they think they're in danger, and they are also a little slow because first they're a cute baby harmless dragon before they become the powerful V-Star that can just do whatever the heck it wants. Okay, maybe not so harmless after all, if the LAIC finals was an indication, but you get my point.
Pokemon, but it is just the Squawkabilly, no Nest Ball, no Ultra Ball, a few Grass Energy, and he can't use Squawk and Seize. You can only use that ability on your first turn. This is Miloslav's turn 2. He can bench the Squawkabilly and stick it out for one more turn. Look at this!
He doesn't even want to!
And Ruth has the Grass Energy. He draws for turn, retreats, and Dragon Laser takes the knockout. We're going to Game 3 here at LAIC.
The decks that we will talk about today can stand a chance against many other decks in the format, so that you can have success in the Surging Sparks metagame and become the new local hero that people cheer on to succeed on stream and take down the evil top players. In Sacramento, we had Cloth Terrapagus coming out of the blue and doing quite well and getting top 32, as well as Miraidon coming out on top with Coldengo finishing in a very respectable 3rd place. So if you're tired of Regidrago getting away with all these major results and dominating every tournament it finds itself in, pay attention because these decks offer new options and can help exploit some of the weaknesses it does have, except actual weakness because the card doesn't have any since Fairy Pokemon went extinct in the trading card game for some reason. First, let's talk about the Sacramento champion and finalist deck Miraidon. This deck goes lightning fast thanks to the Tandem Unit ability that lets you search your deck for up to 2 basic lightning Pokemon and put them onto your bench once per turn. This fantastic ability allows you to establish whichever attacker you need immediately, while staining your deck for 2 cards, which is always useful. The deck uses a combination of 4 different Pokemon to win games. First is Miraidon itself, which is useful to take down powerful basic Pokemon like Regidrago or Ogerpon with Photon Blaster. Next is Iron Hands, to bully low HP Pokemon like Charmander, Ralts or the Lightning Weak Squawkabilly or Luminion with its Zampy very much attack, as if your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by damage from this attack, you get to take 1 more prize card. Then we have Raikou, which can do just as much damage as Miraidon or more, thanks to Area 0 increasing the amount of bench spaces you have, which is perfect for Lightning Rondo, since this attack does 20 more damage for each bench Pokemon in play, and also does it for 1 less energy as its attack only costs 2 instead of Miraidon's 3. And finally we have Raichu, which is arguably the most powerful of them all, since its Dynamic Spark attack lets you discard any amount of lightning energy from your Pokemon and it does 60 damage for each card you discarded in this way. Having 4 different attackers is not something every deck can achieve, and this versatility is one of Miraidon's strengths. Of course, this is all thanks to the beautifully frustrating Electric Generator. This card lets you look at the top 5 cards of your deck and attach up to 2 basic lightning energy cards you find there to your bench lightning Pokemon in any way you like. If you're old and grumpy like me, you probably remember how powerful Max Elixir was back in the XY era, and this card is a newer, shinier, better version of that, except it only works for lightning Pokemon. Without that card, this deck would not be viable, and thus finding this card early and often is key to its success. Miraidon decks have enjoyed various degree of success since the card came out in 2023, but Surging Sparks brought it back to the forefront of the metagame after staying dormant thanks to the 3 new Pokemon. First, we have the biggest upgrade, Magneton. With Overbolt Discharge, Magneton is knocked out, and then you can attach up to 3 basic energy cards from your discard pile to your lightning Pokemon in any way you like. This helps the deck be less reliant on successful electric generators and lets it have a reliable burst of energy on the board to help power up something out of the blue or have enough energy in play for Raichu to take a big knockout. Of course, giving up a prize card is costly, but as we have seen with Dusknoir, if this is used strategically there are many benefits to doing so, such as activating Counter Catcher in your favor when tied in prize cards. The second upgrade is Latias EX's Skyliner ability, which makes your basic Pokemon in play have no retreat cost. Having a free retreating pivot all the time is amazing for this deck, especially since Electric Generator only attaches to bench Pokemon, and it pairs nicely with Raiku's fleet-footed ability to give you an extra card each turn as well. And finally, the least impressive yet still useful upgrade is Pikachu EX, which is a Terra Pokemon that allows the deck to go with a wider bench of 8 Pokemon with the Area Zero Stadium, but it's a lot more resilient than the previous Terra Mewtwo EX thanks to its Resolute Heart ability protecting it. Pikachu EX and Area Zero make Raiku's Lightning Rondo a much more threatening option for the deck, reaching up to higher numbers than the usual 220 damage it could before, and for a much cheaper energy cost than Miraidon. With the new upgrades, 4 Boss's Orders for maximum aggression, and all the supporting Pokemon one could ever hope for, it's no surprise that Miraidon has been revitalized and had such a dominant performance to kickstart the Surging Sparks metagame. Next, let's discuss the new deck that is all the rage right now, Cloth with Terrapagos. These two might seem like an unlikely duo, but they've been all anyone talks about in the online Pokemon TCG scene after a successful weekend at Sacramento. This deck takes advantage of Terrapagos as both an attacker as well as activating Area Zero, so that you have a bench full of powerful supporting Pokemon to help you set up, such as Oranguru and Squawkabilly EX, as well as the necessary components for Cloth's Unhinged Scissors to do massive damage thanks to the poison support of Brute Bonnet, Binding Mochi, and Radiant Sneasler. The poison combo works this way. First, you need a Brute Bonnet that has an Ancient Booster Energy Capsule attached, so you may make both active Pokemon poisoned. This will make your active Cloth be poisoned, thus fulfilling the requirement of being affected by a special condition, so that Unhinged Scissors does 160 more damage. Next, we need a Binding Mochi attached to the active, so attacks used by the poison Pokemon this card is attached to do 40 more damage. And finally, we have Radiant Sneasler's ability, which during Pokemon Checkup, you put 2 more damage counters on your opponent's poisoned Pokemon. This combo lets Cloth do exactly 240 damage, more than enough to take down all the big basic Pokemon in the format, including Raging Bolt. And the best part is that since a KO on the higher HP Pokemon sometimes happens during Pokemon Checkup and not with actual damage, your opponent won't get the benefit of the Flip the Script ability activating during their turn. The poison combo also brings Terrapagos' damage to a whole new level, as with a full bench of 8 Pokemon you max out at 220 damage, but with the poison and Binding Mochi you now do 260, and with the 3 damage counters from poison thanks to Radiant Sneasler in between turns, now you are dealing 290 damage total. Coincidentally more than enough to 1KO the big scary Regidrago that has been terrorizing the major tournament so far this season, and even a Raging Bolt EX that has a Bravery Charm attached. While most of these cards were available already, the deck did get 2 upgrades from Surging Sparks. The most significant one is the Precious Trolley A-Spec. This card lets you just immediately bench all the support Pokemon you need, both for setup such as Squawk, Oranguru, and Latias, as well as all the necessary ones for the poison tactics, Brute Bonnet and Radiant Sneasler, and sometimes Petrant, and finally any attacker you need, Cloth, Terrapagos, or if you're up against Charizard, Hizui and Electrode. The possibility to get everything for your setup immediately is very enticing, and there are many other decks trying out this A-Spec such as Charizard or Dragapult. However, it seems like this deck is the best one to take advantage of Precious Trolley. The second upgrade is Latias EX's Skyliner ability, which makes your basic Pokemon in play have no retreat cost. With so many heavy retreat Pokemon in play such as Brute Bonnet, Sneasler, Terrapagos, Oranguru or Cloth, having them now just have free retreat all the time is incredible for this deck. With the new upgrades and the huge damage output possibility for this deck, especially with a single prizer like Cloth, this rogue is for sure one to watch out for in the Surging Sparks metagame. And finally we have Goldengo. The string cheese Pokemon took everyone by surprise in Sacramento, as even though the deck has gotten good results such as top 4 at LAIC the weekend before, very few people even take the deck seriously, nor did it get any sort of boost in popularity. This deck has a very straightforward goal: accumulate a bunch of basic energy in your hand and then discard as many as are necessary with Make It Rain and deal 50 damage for each card you discarded in this way. Sounds simple, right? Well, it used to be that you needed to chain a bunch of earthen vessels in order to accomplish this, and it might be a little clunky at times despite the multiple ways to draw cards with Coin Bonus and Radiant Greninja. However, the 2 new upgrades from Surging Sparks have given a whole makeover to this deck, and Goldengo is looking more fabulous than ever. First, Energy Search Pro made dishing huge damage early on much easier. It lets you search your deck for any number of basic energy cards of different types, reveal them, and put them into your hand, which is why the deck has the whole rainbow of basic energy in it. That huge burst of damage as well as the incredible deck thinning option is almost unheard of. Of course, the A-Spec could be priced, and that will really hurt the deck the 10% of the time it tends to happen, but the strength of this card single-handedly carried Goldengo to be the first seed heading into top 8 at Sacramento, and the other upgrade definitely played a major role too. this innocent looking Togekiss is giving major ADP aura with the Wonder Kiss ability, because when your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out, you flip a coin. If heads, you take one more prize card. This card can single-handedly change the course of a game with a couple lucky flips, or be completely ineffective as we saw in the top 4 match with a few tails in a row. Setting up the Togekiss isn't a problem for the deck, and the benefits are totally worth the few spots necessary for Togepi, Togekiss and Rare Candy. Goldingo now has the perfect way to boost its damage while staining the deck, the potential to earn extra prizes, and a built-in anti-disruption ability with coin bonus to help find superior energy retrieval over and over in order to KO anything your opponent might throw at you. Regardless of what deck you choose, one of these or one of the many other viables in this current format, hopefully this video has given you some good insight into these 3 decks that almost came out of the blue and surpassed any expectations you or I had of them before the Sacramento Regional. There are still plenty of tournaments to go with Surging Sparks all over the world, so make sure you are already subscribed in order to stay up to date on all the most important info of the Pokemon trading card game. Let me know what you have been enjoying in the Surging Sparks metagame so far, and I hope I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and until next time.